Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a side project that I've been working on. I'm not sure what to call it yet. It's an Obsidian Vault, some form of script, and basically it helps me with automating how I make documents and filling the data that I would usually fill as soon as I make those documents and so on and so forth. It gives me a bunch of prompts and all of that. And what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks is that trying to simplify it, if you will. So basically, I made a script that can read a bunch of commands, and those commands will basically be things like, asking you for choosing something or choosing multiple things from a list that you decide, or maybe asking you to give it some form of text input like as a title or maybe as an alias, something to refer back to your document, all of that. And all of that is done using templator and a little bit of data view here and there to display some data. Folder database is also included in this project. And periodic notes, I believe, to, make daily notes much easier to make and weekly notes and all of that. So just to give you a quick demonstration, this is some form of an empty vault so far. All we have right now is a gallery with a bunch of icons and banners, which basically these pictures up here. And we have like our home page. So this is a homepage plugin that will open this specific page for you as every time you load your vault. And in here we have a button. The button plugin also makes this really, really useful, really easy to use. And what you do here is that you click on a new document and it gives you a prompt. It will give you multiple prompts. And I know the choices here are not exactly the most clever around, but this is what I've been working with for the past 5 or 10 days actually. And it's easily customizable. So here it will give you a prompt, and it will tell you like this property is being stored in a this value that you're gonna enter. So you have to enter one of those. You have to select one of them. You can't select both. And it's going to be stored in a key. And this is a key word, if you will. There's a key and there is a value. Key is whatever way we can refer to a specific value. So we have this key here that with the ticket icon thing. It's an emoji actually. And I can give it one of the options and it will give me another prompt. And this is how I made it, by the way. You can customize it however you want. And it will ask me what type of category, what kind of category. It will ask me what type of that project that I want to make. And let's say I want to make a program. It will ask me for a title. I can say hello world. Not hello. This is the second time I record this and the second time I make this mistake. This is sometimes I use in my project, like some books that I refer to learn things from. We're not going to enter any aliases. We can say testing and hello. And if it'll ask me for tags, and I'm not sure what to call this one. Again, maybe hello world. But the problem, you cannot use spaces into tags, so this will be broken into 2 tags. This is a thing that I still haven't fixed. Alright, then I will give you optional templates. And those, by the way, have to be made manually. All the templates have to be made manually. With all the metadata you expect to be filled in. And let's say we want both these optionals. And we notice that we have an activity folder and this thing popped in, and this will change. Yeah, it will change it to to-do status. And once this happens, we notice that the choices that we've been taking were turned into, a folder, nested folder structures that eventually contains a folder with a number, with a series of numbers, or like with a specific number. All the way up to, I don't know how can you fill like a 10,000 in here, but good luck. And so that things are sorted just fine. And then we notice that we have 3 files in here. One of them is called description, and we notice that all the options we just filled in, like the keys are around here, like the title, the activity, and all of that. We got a template ready for us. We got a bunch of buttons. Some of these buttons allow us to create other files that are linked back to this file. So if I create a subnode here, sub, and give it topic template, it's going to create one here, and this one is supposed to have a value here that refers back to the main document, which usually it does. Apparently it doesn't this one. Maybe I made a mistake in my code. This can be easily fixable, but again, this is some sort of a version, I don't know, 2 point, sorry, not even 2, this is like 0.3. There's a lot of work to be done with this one. And we have sort images. All of these does stuff. So for example, if I click on sort images and I have images in here, it will basically take these images and put them in a folder inside of my document folder called media, and it will change the links and just move all the pictures around here. I can create a video, which is another type of activity. You can also customize what kind of document you want to create about this. And it will give you the same procedure almost. It will ask you for a title, a few tags, if you will, and it will make a document somewhere else that can be referred to. Okay. So how did I achieve all of that? Was using templater and basically a lot of regular expressions. But basically what I made is that a command that can read either this file, the new document file, starting from here if we want to make a new document, and it will look for anything that has this kind of structure, text structure in it. And what happens here, like for example, we have the command dialog. This will make the next dialog for whatever input or interaction of the user that you want. And usually anything that is next to the arrow is usually a key that refers to a value, and that key gets stored somewhere up until you start creating those files and basically adding the values of every key you added so far into the file. Hopefully that makes sense. Into the metadata of the file. All right. And we have this like special layer, command. And basically layer is, imagine the idea of layer as in what we did here, is that basically nested folders within themselves. Once you're done with once you start actually creating the folder, creating the document, it will go through all these layers and nest them within each other, all the way until it gets to the last layer, which in our case, like this program layer, and will create the document file with the number and so on and so forth, and all the templates that you made. And next file basically will be looking into the layer and how many values are in there. And if we're starting with the first value, it will be one of those, and then it would look in the templates folder for another folder with the same name as the one of those options. In our case, we're going to look into the activity one because it's in the top, that's easy to access, and it will look for a file with the same name as well, and it will go there. So basically it's kind of like handling conditions for what kind of commands to look for, if you will, what kind of instruction to look for, where to look for instructions based on our current input, for example. But this is all just dependent on the layer so far. Okay. Excuse me. I'm a little dehydrated. We have this, you notice that we're using this key again, but it's enclosed in this $ open close parentheses now. And this basically means, we'll tell the script, is that if you find any key that you know of right now enclosed in this that has a value, just replace that value. replace this text with the value that this key contains. That's it. So if we chosen an activity, it will put activity in here. All right. This asks us again the same question, and we go look for another folder with the name project again, because that's what we made. And it will look for a file called project, and it will look for instructions. It will just reread instructions. And it will keep reading instructions until you run out of, until you move to a file that doesn't exist, for example. Or until you use the command, one of the commands that are going to end the, execution of the script. It's gonna loop forever if you make things wrong, so you gotta be careful. So what's next? Okay, we make another layer, but we also notice that we don't actually have any folder that includes it. But that's not a problem, it's not a deal breaker. We also have a few things that I have to explain later on. We have an input command. This basically we ask you for text for the title. And we have a list command. We'll ask you for multiple values, and we'll keep asking you until you give it nothing. There's a select and there's an option command, and the select basically you can pick only one of the options you have, and an option basically you can pick any number of the options you have. Okay, so we have two things I'm going to explain real quick. So we have an overview key and there's an overview layer. Some commands, what they will basically do is that they will read a value of a key instead of assigning a value of a key. And this all has its own documentation, by the way. You can use to this utility documentation, and you can read. It's about 2,000 words. There's a little bit of to do. There's a little bit of work to fix this documentation. It's actually, so far it's so good. It's all right. And what happens in the key is that overview key defines the value you saw here, the key for this one here. So, and this can be changed from a Kanban file by dragging and dropping the file around. The card that has the link to the file around. And it's going to change anytime soon. There you go, it changed. All right. So that's what key to modify within those files, and layer basically when to make at what what folder, what depth to make this Kanban file. So this here is to make it a project. Okay, one last thing to explain real quick, because if you wanna use that, I don't want to be spending 30 minutes explaining this today, to be honest. I don't have much time. You can read the documentation. You can comment to ask me anything. But the last thing here is in the new document. So in the new document, any command that... we have few commands that end up with key, and basically this is resetting the default value or the default name of a specific value. So, for example, a calendar will... will store the created date value, and this pin will store the last time you modified this document value, sort of date. And the title, this will store the title, which basically the title of the document or the name of the document. And the parent key will store a value usually known called parent, and this refers to a document that this current one basically belongs to, so or link back to. So for example, like our subnode, it belongs to this whole hello world document here, which again, it should be here, but I'm not sure why it isn't. But you know, it is what it is for now. I'll fix it at some point. Okay, what else can we do? What else have I made? I've made a few templates for like daily notes. So you can create a daily note. Invalid banner. Oh, I forgot to fix my banner. So it will ask me a few questions. All of that is made also using the commands that I've shown you. Okay, so let's say give it any number, any type of number. Okay, we don't care very much here now. Let me fix the banner. There you go. Even though it's not that important right now. All right, this command keeps staying here for some reason, although it shouldn't. Title, well, is empty. Testing. Okay, so this gives you like a bunch of metadata. And what you could do right now is you can go to the journal and daily file, and you have a database, a folder database, and basically this will give you access to whatever amount of metadata information you want to get in. This is something I made myself. You can add other fields if you want, if they exist, you can add them. And this will basically show you the metadata you want to see about every file within the current folder. And basically this is made so that if you want to edit or change things, you can just change them real quick without trying to mess with the YAML metadata information. And basically to make things easy to view. And what else I made is that I made a weekly note template. And this is where like the fun is gonna later begin with all of that. This is gonna be fixed as when I upload it. So I will upload this video and I will upload this to GitHub at some point. So this is still under sort of work, if you will. I'm still working on that. On this. So this part here, this is data view table that will show you each day within that week. But currently it relies on metadata. It doesn't rely on actually when that folder was made or the name of that folder. So yeah, it's gonna be a little tough to get, but it is fine. If you use the template from this point out, it's going to include all the folders that you make from that point on out. Okay, so and it should link for each day within the current week, but it seems like it isn't, and I'm not sure why. it's linking to about 2 weeks from now. That's also easily fixable. It's gonna be fixed when I upload it, so no worries about that. But yeah, basically what this is supposed to do is link, what do you call it, is show you like the overall data for the week, and also here, and that is also still work in progress. It should make some update on the total value of these things if you have a total value or an average value of those. So for example, if I give this like 40, if I give this like 60, if I give this 70, it is going to update. Yep, it is going to update it in here, and it's going to show it in some nice graph. And also later on, I'm planning to make a line chart excuse me, I'm going to make a line chart basically to show how well your performance have been in the last week in terms of these data. So did things improve or did things get worse? It depends on how you measure that, of course. So basically, yeah, displaying those metadata in a way, visualize them in a way that you can basically understand what's happening in this week and if it's overall good or bad. Yeah, and all of this, everything that uses a button goes to goes to a folder called commands within the templates file, folder. And these are the commands. They're basically, as you notice, they are the scripts that I've been using to make everything that I've been doing right now. Yeah, so when you create, when you want to use buttons, you basically you want to use the commands that are outside of the new document folder, because every time you execute this like this, it is going to go to the new document. You just have to pass through, and this basically will tells it read the current file. Don't read the main file, if you will. And all of these, there's document for every command and what it does in here. So just go and look into it. And this is where like the power of this comes out, is that I made it so that it's easy to read and it's easy to, you know, understand and make yourself. The only one that I don't know how to make it into this form is the update target. And what the update target does here is, if you go to our program, our document, we know we have a tracking file with a bunch of lists and a few items within that list. And depending on where these items, on which list they are and how many lists there is going to calculate how far are we from, let's say, moving all these to this in a number. And it's going to store it here. So this is where we are right now, and this is where our target is. And if we click here, it's going to update that target. And it's going to visualize this within the home directory, the home file, and it's going to give you like how much progress there is in percentage. And yeah, it's kind of cool, but you still have to like manually update it. I think another thing that I'm starting to notice is that these buttons, for some reason, they don't actually remove the text they add. And I think it's, you can actually tell the plugin to basically remove the stuff that you add after you do that, the buttons plugin. But I think I just missed adding that option, forgot to add that option when I was making the plugin. So yeah, too bad, I guess. So I'm not sure if I will be fixing it anytime soon, but I'll try to do. I'll try to do that. So yeah, you still can make subnodes, but it doesn't remove these. You can just remove them. And I know it's gonna be annoying if you have to, you know, regardless of the automation, actually try to remove it yourself. But yeah, that is fixable. Don't worry about it too much. So yeah, this goes to the past week actually. But yeah, that's it for this video, if you will. This still is going to be developed like more than just this. I want to make it so that visualization, you know, templates for visualizing the data, and easily customizable templates for visualizing data, whatever kind of data from whatever kind of file or tag or whatever you want into this project. It's going to be added. It needs a little bit of optimization that is also fixable. I rushed this project and I made it in a pretty bad way, to be honest. It's hard to understand the code. If you do, good luck. I mean, if you do want to go look into it, but you're gonna lose your mind. And I know some commands may not make sense here, but basically this is just because of my use case is this way. So yeah, I guess yeah, that will be it for now. And I'll hope to see you in the next one. This may not be updated very frequently, but I will be updating that every now and then. So yeah, if you have any feature you want to request, just comment that, or maybe you can make a feature. I think there's a feature request on GitHub, so I'm gonna upload this to GitHub and you can use it whichever way you want. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.